Because he wore them all the time, and then he went on 60 Minutes and doesn't have glasses anymore. Is that like a PR thing? You look smarter, look different?
No, you look smarter usually with the glasses, though.
I know. So. I just want to know. I observe like you do. What's he doing?
These are the pressing issues, but there are other ones we must talk about. Good morning to you. Hope you're having a great Saturday morning. Amongst the big news, the national emergency declared by President Trump. Here is, let us start you off with just a little bit of his Rose Garden announcement yesterday.
We're talking about an invasion of our country with drugs, with human traffickers, with all types of criminals and gangs. And when you listen to politicians, in particular certain Democrats, they say it all comes through the port of entry. It's wrong. They say walls don't work. Walls work 100%. Nancy knows it. Chuck knows it. They all know it.
I know someone who's going to be fired up about this. We have got Dan Bongino, Fox.
Public is missing. On the funding for the wall side, I'm not sure the Democrats understand yet how badly they got wrecked on this. Wrecked. Listen here. Here's what he did. He's good at this, Trump. He's good at finding ways around these people. He did this thing with the funding on the border where he did the funding sequentially, meaning by the time he gets to the national emergency funding, by the time he even gets there, doing it sequentially, he will already have spent money from the Treasury Forfeiture Fund, $600 million, perfectly legally obtained legislatively, and also money from the military construction budget, the MILCON budget, also obtained perfectly legally. United States Code, what is it, 9705 and 284. Now, the sequential part matters because by the time he gets to the $3 billion plus there, the wall's already being built. Again, I don't think the Democrats understand how badly they got owned on this thing on the funding side.
Yeah, they don't agree with you, Dan. I hate to let me just put up a few quotes from many of the Democrat presidential hopefuls on this national emergency. Elizabeth Warren calling it a temper tantrum. Kirsten Gillibrand calling it an outrageous abuse of power. Bernie Sanders unlawful. Julian Castro a constitutional crisis.
Dan, I do want to know this because you're a lover of the Constitution. You believe in fidelity to that document. Is the president within his powers on this declaration?
To declare a national emergency according to the 1976 National Emergencies Act, the answer is yes, of course. Congress delegated the power to the president, Pete, to do that. Now, the question isn't on the declaration is perfectly legal according to the law. I don't think even the most ardent radical leftists would dispute that. The question is going to be on the funding side. Is the moving around of funds going to be held up in court? But, Pete, as I just said to you, President Trump outfoxed these guys again, because by the time they get to that funding, they have to spend the $1.375 billion allocated according to the bill, the $600 million from the Treasury funds, perfectly legal, and the other $2 billion from the other funds, again from the military construction budget. So there's no doubt about that. He outfoxed them again. I'm sure of it.
Dan, yet another tense exchange between President Trump and Jim Acosta. Jim Acosta coming out and saying, "Oh, this is a manufactured crisis," and Trump saying, "Oh, really? If it's a manufactured crisis, talk to the Angel Moms and see what they have to say about it." Take a listen. I want to get your reaction.
Yeah.
What do you say to your critics who say that you are creating a national emergency, that you're concocting a national emergency here in order to get your wall because you couldn't get it through other ways?
What do you think? Do you think I'm creating something? Ask these incredible women who lost their daughters and their sons. Okay?
Powerful stuff.
Shut Jim Acosta up pretty quickly, Dan, didn't it?
You know, Acosta keeps making a big mistake. He keeps making himself the story. That's not what I'm not a journalist. I do opinion. I appreciate facts and data, obviously, but I don't do. He does journalism. He's supposed to tell a story, not be the story. Now, I ran into both Acosta and the Angel Moms. I'm here in D.C. at the D.C. Bureau, and I ran into both of them. And when you run into the Angel Moms like I did, and they come up to you to say hello, and they have a shirt on with a picture of the loved one they lost, Jedediah, you don't even know what to say. What do you say? I know how you feel. Thank God I don't know how you feel. It is horrifying to have to look at someone who lost their child, who didn't have to because of poor enforcement of our border. Acosta, again, put himself in an untenable, unwinnable situation by trying to showboat and make himself part of the story. And the Angel Moms are the story, not Jim Acosta.
Yeah. No, it was a powerful moment, and we're watching a video right there of a confrontation or a conversation that happened even after the press conference between those angel moms and Jim Acosta. To be a fly on that wall. I'm sure there's transcripts. We'll bring that to you. But another issue we got to get your perspective on is Andy McCabe. He's now out with a new book. He's doing interviews. He's revealing, we don't know if he's truthful or not, but that there were serious discussions of invoking an amendment in the Constitution to remove the president. Listen to this.
The discussion of the 25th Amendment was simply Rod raised the issue and discussed it with me in the context of thinking about how many other cabinet officials might support such an effort. The Deputy Attorney General was definitely very concerned about the president, about his capacity, and about his intent at that point in time.
Dan, you've been on it from the beginning. No one ever thought they'd get caught. Now they're pointing fingers at each other. Your take on the latest revelations here?
Pete, do you understand what you just heard there? The deputy director of the FBI is admitting in a nationally televised interview to air this Sunday, a snippet of which you just saw, to taking part in a coup attempt. Give me what, even to the radical far leftists who watch the network out there, please describe to me in any other terms other than a coup, reasonably what you just saw if you have an alternate explanation. It's the number two at the FBI explaining how they tried to remove a president from office using a constitutional means not meant at all for what it was meant for. And one more thing on this. McCabe has unique liability here, Pete, because he's the one guy we know on the record that has already admitted that the warrant to spy on the Trump team wouldn't have existed without the dossier they never verified. He's admitted this now. He's got unique liability here, and that's why he's running for the hills.
And so, Dan, real quickly, just to be fair, the spokesperson at DOJ for McCabe walking that back, saying at no time did that discussion happen. What I want to know is, now that he said this in this interview to air tomorrow, should Rod Rosenstein finally be made to answer to Congress?
Wait, Griff, number one, listen, I know you're being, I appreciate that, but you can't unrob the bank, okay? The bank's been robbed. McCabe said it. You can't say, oh, I didn't just say what I just said. No, you said it, okay? There's no one, you don't walk the money back to the bank after the ink packs explode and go, hey, my bad, I screwed up, here's the money back. But should Rod Rosenstein testify in front of Congress? Absolutely. We need two things from Rosenstein. Why he signed the fourth FISA after knowing at that point the dossier hadn't been verified. And number two, what the heck was in that expanded scope memo to Bob Mueller? Were they investigating people and not collusion with no evidence?
You mean the memo that justified the special counsel is what you're talking about, which has not been made public?
No, the first, yes, the initial memo has. The expanded scope memo that gave Mueller additional powers, we don't know what was in there, and Rosenstein and his buddies are hiding it.
Interesting. Interesting stuff. And should he still have a job, Dan Rosenstein?
No, God, no. Is that a serious question? I'm messing with you.
I don't ask a lot of serious questions, Dan. But...
Yeah, I'm messing with you, brother. No, absolutely not. Rod Rosenstein should be on a beach somewhere getting a tan. He should be nowhere near the Justice Department.
So true. Yeah. All right.
Thank you, Dan.
Dan, thanks a lot.
Always passionate.
That's true. That's the line of the day. The ink explodes. I want the money back. I love it.
Thanks, Dan.
Appreciate it.
See ya.
Turning now to some headlines for you, and we begin with a Fox News alert. A factory worker about to be fired guns down 5 co-workers and injures 5 police officers during a shooting rampage. The 15-year employee immediately opening fire on police as they rushed inside the Henry Pratt manufacturing plant just outside Chicago. The gunman, Gary Martin, was killed during a shootout with police. All officers shot are in stable condition. 2 men are released from police custody after being questioned in the alleged attack on Empire actor Jussie Smollett. Chicago police citing new evidence for not charging them. The brothers from Nigeria were taken into custody Wednesday. Police say at least one worked on Empire. Authorities are still investigating the initial alleged attack and say local reports calling it a hoax were unconfirmed. Federal authorities seizing 221 pounds of cocaine off the coast of California, the largest bust at that port in 25 years. The drugs were discovered under the floorboards of produce boats from Ecuador and Guatemala. The recent bust was part of a federal joint operation. And former San Francisco 49ers player Colin Kaepernick and Eric Reid settled their collusion suits with the NFL. They accused Commissioner Roger Goodell and team owners of keeping them off the field for kneeling during the national anthem. Kaepernick hasn't played since the 2016 season, and Reid played for the Carolina Panthers last season. The details of the settlement, they're confidential. And those are your headlines.
It's probably a lot of money.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
Big time.
All right, we'll find out. All right, well, liberal mayor, no other explanation needed, Bill de Blasio, he rips the socialist from the Bronx who's actually from Westchester. Listen.
As a progressive my entire life, and I ain't changing, I'll take on any progressive anywhere that thinks it's a good idea to lose jobs and revenue.
Oh, man, they're battling each other.
Boy.
Is the left taking on the left a good idea?
And is Joe Biden getting ready to jump into the race for the White House? Apparently, he's 90% sure. The former Obama advisor who heard that from Biden himself joins us next. Well, there's growing speculation this week that former Vice President Joe Biden is getting ready to jump into the 2020 race for the White House, including from our next guest who says he spoke with Joe Biden and is 90% sure he's running. Robert Wolf is the founder and CEO of 32 Advisors, a former economic advisor to President Obama and a Fox News contributor. He joins us now. Robert, thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me on, Jeff.
You had a big conversation with Joe Biden. What happened?
Well, anything with Joe is big, right? You know, I spoke to him Wednesday. I mean, we've known each other for, 10 or 15 years now, so it's not surprising. I've met with most of the candidates. But he really told me that, he's going to be incredibly excited and enthusiastic to enter the race. And I think it's about a 90% chance because it's never certain until he announces. I mean, I met with him a lot in 2015 when he was truly agonizing, I think his mind was telling him go in, his heart was telling him not to go in, and he just wasn't ready to commit. It feels to me that after a great midterm for him, where he was really the most popular surrogate in the country, that he feels there's incredible enthusiasm for him to run.
Is that why he's running?
I think he's running because I believe he thinks he is the best candidate to beat President Trump, that he can get both the coastal, excitement as well as industrial America.
But how will he position himself? Because it seems the Democrat Party and these candidates that have already declared are moving so far to the left.
You know what, Griff? That's a great question, and it's a debate we have internally within our party all the time. I don't necessarily agree that everyone's made this incredible shift to the left. First of all, the slate's going to be 15-plus people. What I do believe is everyone has to check a few different boxes. They have to be for immigration, they have to be for health care as a right, they have to be for smart gun reform, and they have to be for climate change. But I actually will tell you 80% of the country is there as well. So to say that that's an incredible shift to the left is a bit of BS.
It's not BS, though. Hold on. You just had this week Beto O'Rourke, who's going to run. You've got Kirsten Gillibrand talking about taking down existing border wall after every single Border Patrol official in the country is saying we need more.
Yeah, but you also had President Trump asking for something like 800 miles of wall, and Will Hurd, who's in that district, thought the wall was ridiculous, and he is the Republican congressman in that district. So listen, I think there's arguments every which way for a wall,
yes,
a barrier, a fence, security. There are smarter minds working on it than me, but I think this populist rhetoric on the far left and far right, is going to each extreme because it gets their grassroots going.
So you advise these guys, Robert, do you believe that a Democrat presidential candidate could get elected if they're not for essentially open borders at this point?
Yes. I think absolutely. There's a big difference between being for immigration reform, like, Dreamers and a pathway to citizenship, than there is with saying, I believe in open borders. I actually think Democrats have been strong on border security in the past. The truth is that, the wall has become literally a campaign hot potato for every switch side. What I would say as a Democrat, you can have progressive issues, but you need to be a pro-growth Democrat to beat President Trump. You have to be strong on the economy. And if you are not strong in the economy, then President Trump will win again. Because what we've learned from our decades of elections, people go in and they pull that lever because of the economy and
Right.
foreign policy. They want a strong commander-in-chief. They want someone strong in the economy. So my view is those progressive issues that we discussed,
Right.
those are national issues.
Well, Robert, we got to leave it there. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks
We
for
shall
letting
see
me
if Joe Biden jumps into the race. You say 90%.
My gut tells me he's going in.
Thank you very much. All right. Roger Stone has been speaking out for weeks against special counsel Mueller's team, but he won't anymore. Plus, we've looked at Pete's DNA test results on the show, and we found out he's mega Norwegian. But what about me? My heritage is here to give me my results. You're going to find out. Stay tuned.
I knew that I would.
Welcome back. A couple of quick immigration headlines. A federal judge blocks the Trump administration from favoring police departments that cooperate with immigration officials. The judge ruling that the Justice Department violated the Constitution by giving grants to law enforcement departments that actually let ICE into jails and gave advance notice before releasing detainees, otherwise known as criminals, suspected of being in the country illegally. And in the second story, remember when Philadelphia's mayor did this sanctuary dance?
A sanctuary city, yeah.
That is Let's just play that on a loop. He may be dancing again. A federal appeals
told me that your family is Norwegian, as far as you know.
Yep.
Sir, you are correct. You are mega Norwegian. He's a Viking. Mega Norwegian.
Well,
I love that.
Griff also took the test.
He did.
Now it's time to find out the results.
Yvette is here. Yvette Corcoran is a collaborator for MyHeritage.com and the author of Something Beautiful Happened, and she joins us now. I'm dying to know, how Norwegian am I, Yvette?
I have to say, you guys may or may not be cousins, but you have a little bit of a more diverse background than your friend over here.
I believe
Are you
that.
ready to dive in? I
Can't
think there's
get
some really incredible
less diverse.
surprises.
I am,
I know, right?
and we have been. I've been taking a long time to get this to you, Yvette, because I've been traveling with caravan
Right.
and other things. But I truly have no idea what my heritage is.
All right, well,
let
let's
her
dive
tell
in
us.
because
I'm
we have
dying to
some
know.
really cool, interesting surprises for you. You ready?
Oh.
All right.
Okay, first let's start with the DNA ethnicity breakdown. Okay, Griff, you are 41.4% Irish, Scottish, and Welsh.
I believe that.
Okay,
All right.
you are also 32.7% Scandinavian, which is Norway, Sweden, and Denmark.
Welcome, cousin.
There you go. 14.9% Iberian, which is Spain and Portugal.
Okay.
Not sure if you knew that. 7% East European, which includes Poland, Romania, Ukraine, Latvia. And finally, 4% English.
Ah,
So
okay.
he's 100% European.
100%.
There's a little bit of everything
A little
there.
bit diversity there.
Multicultural.
But not just that, because MyHeritage is such a global database, you actually have close to 15,000 people around the world who share your DNA.
Wow.
Lots of cousins waiting to connect. And the researchers at MyHeritage were able to go back using this information, using their database of billions of records. They actually built a family tree for you going back 8 generations with 92 people in it.
Really?
Yeah.
8 generations?
8 generations.
I'm not good at math,
8
but
generations.
That's a lot.
far back.
That's a
Look
lot.
at that.
That's a pretty large family. And there's some surprises in that family tree and some really cool historical stuff as well. You ready to dive in?
Yes.
Okay, let's start with your mom's side. Your Irish roots, right? About 41% Irish. Well, your maternal family came over on a ship called the Envoy from Ireland bound for Pennsylvania. Now, I believe we have the ship's manifest. On that manifest, you can see your great-great-great-grandparents, Charles and Rosanna Crawford. Wow. They came over with their 9 children, including your great-great-grandfather, Charles, who was 3. You can actually see his name on that manifest. He was 3. Also traveling were twin infant girls, Matilda and Rebecca. And where it's highlighted, you can see that Rebecca did not survive the journey. She died on the ship. Now, this was the time of the Irish potato famine when they came over. So the baby did not survive, but the rest of the family did make it here safely.
Wow, that's amazing. You got the manifest. How do you guys trace back to something as historical as that? I mean, that's really...
So there is a database on MyHeritage of close to 10 billion historical records, including immigration documents, ship's manifests, census documents, marriage certificates. And in that database, we found something pretty cool. This is your grandfather's World War I draft registration document.
Wow, Seabrook
Griffin. That is your grandfather. He was 20 years old when he registered for the draft. It says that he was a bookkeeper and that he was of medium height, medium build, brown eyes, and brown hair.
Well, how about that? That's really cool.
That's pretty cool.
I will send a copy of this to my mother who's watching.
Hi, Mom.
That I know she's going to, that's her father, obviously. And he had a furniture store. And so I actually have a glass from the Griffin Furniture Store. And so that's a really cool thing.
Excellent.
Now, here's what I got to know. How do I get in touch with the 15,000 Griffs in Europe?
Well, before I get to that, I have to tell you, before we get there, you have a really cool piece of history on your dad's side. Did you know that you have a connection to the Alamo?
No.
Oh, ready for this. Your great-great-great-grandfather, George Kimball, was actually one of the Gonzales Rangers. He's one of the gentlemen who answered the desperate call for help of the men who were under siege at the Alamo. He went to his wife. That is his son. That is his son. And so those are your great-grandparents. But your great-great-great-grandfather answered the call to go to the Alamo. He then went to his wife, who was washing clothes down by the river with your great-great-grandfather, who was 2 at the time, that's him, and said, I have to go help these men. I will likely never return. And he was killed on the last day of battle at the Alamo.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Isn't that amazing?
That's
amazing. That's a piece of history.
Remember the Alamo.
You'll never forget it now.
That's great. Now, we're going to have to test you.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Okay, so it is a simple, we've tested everyone. Now it is your turn. It is a simple cheek swab. You take that and you swab the inside of your cheek for about 30 seconds.
Are you getting, like, I can't see them. Are there germs in there? Sorry.
It's okay. You do that for about 30 seconds, and then what you do is you pop it off. We send it off to the lab, which is in Texas. In about 3 weeks, you'll get your DNA ethnicity breakdown.
Cool.
And then, like you can choose to connect with people all around the world who share your DNA.
I'm still doing this. You guys know.
No, it's good.
It's great. It's
awesome.
Go to myheritagedna.com. Use the Fox coupon. Viewers get free shipping. Yvette, thank you so much.
Sure.
That really, I'm still stunned with that.
MyHeritageDNA.com. Use the code FOX if you want to check it out.
Exactly, free shipping. And because of the stories that we've done, we know of 2 families here in the U.S. who have found one another because of the segments they've seen here on Fox, inspired to find their own history.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
the
cool.
details.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
guys.
All right, well, the left is taking on the left. Liberal Mayor Bill de Blasio ripping the socialist from the Bronx for opposing Amazon in New York.
I think that's out of touch with what working people want. Working people are very smart and very discerning.
The one who's thought their other additional headquarters was going to be in Long Island City. They got $3 billion in tax breaks to be there. Everyone thought that's where they will be. Then a lot of progressives and leftists came out and said, no, we don't want this in our backyard. When it was the Democrats like Bill de Blasio who actually wanted it in the first place. So it turns out the left is fighting the left over whether Amazon should be here in Long Island City. Here's Bill de Blasio, the mayor of New York, in his opposition to AOC.
As a progressive my entire life, and I ain't changing, I'll take on any progressive anywhere that thinks it's a good idea to lose jobs and revenue, because I think that's out of touch with what working people want. Working people are very smart and very discerning. They want jobs, they want revenue, they want the kinds of things that government can do for them. They understand it has to be paid for.
This is what's going to happen. You are going to have people on the left who, I mean, I can't believe I'm saying that de Blasio makes sense. This might be the first time I've ever said that, but he wanted this. Cuomo wanted it because it would generate jobs, it would generate revenue for New York. And AOC, I mean, she doesn't understand how tax breaks work. It's so stunning. I heard her and she was like, oh, well, you know, if we have $3 billion, why don't we invest it in the subways and the schools? And I'm saying, you don't have $3 billion. You were going to get that money in tax breaks from Amazon's investment in our economy. Well, so before she talks about these issues, maybe figure out how tax breaks work.
It's significant, though. This is a very significant story because now we know where the line is with other Democrats that may want to be president of the United States from going in line with AOC. AOC is shiny, she's bright, she's exciting, and she says some pretty outlandish stuff. And you saw Kirsten Gillibrand, you know, jumping on board, trying to move to the left. But now we know, as de Blasio points out, when it comes to jobs, when it comes to working people, it's a bridge too far, and that's what we just witnessed.
The government can't create them all. Like you agree, it was a pretty crony deal that brought them to there. But at the end of the day, this is 25,000 well-paying jobs that they're like, nope, see you later.
Well, I have front row seats to the left, fighting the left. We're going to turn to some headlines for you now. Roger Stone denying new claims from Robert Mueller's team that he communicated with WikiLeaks. Prosecutors revealing they have new evidence in a court filing. They didn't say what it is. Stone tells Fox News, quote, there is no such evidence. This is a federal judge issues a gag order for both sides in and outside the courtroom. Stone is charged with obstruction and witness tampering. He calls the charges politically motivated. Embattled Virginia Governor Ralph Northam set to kick off what he calls a, quote, reconciliation tour. His first stop will be at Virginia Union University, a historically black college, on Thursday. Northam has been under fire for weeks over racist photos in his yearbook. The governor says he will not resign. California Governor Gavin Newsom is backing a home state colleague in the 2020 presidential race.
I'm very enthusiastic about Kamala Harris, and you asked me first, so I'll let you know. I'll be endorsing her candidacy for president. I think the American people could not do better.
Big step. The Democratic governor also says he'll serve as a co-chair for her campaign in California. Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg returns to work for the first time since undergoing cancer surgery. The 85-year-old attended a closed-door conference with other justices. Ginsburg had been working from home after having cancerous nodules removed from her lung in December. It's unclear whether she'll be on the bench when the court returns from recess next week. And those are your headlines.
Us. All right, thanks for coming to us.
Pete,
I'm getting my jacket on. Look at me. I'm getting set up. All right, spring is right around the corner, which means fishing season will soon be here. And our next guest has the gear and the tips to make sure you are ready.
That's right. Here with us, Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, Luke Snyder. Luke, how you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having us back.
Other than fixing my rod fishing tips, what do you got coming up, man? I can't wait for fishing season.
Oh, yeah. It's coming right around the corner. Spring Fishing Classic is happening right now. We have activities just like you guys are doing here with the casting buckets for the kiddos.
All right.
Adults alike.
Don't watch. No,
so
do
press
not watch.
that button to release. It's a Zebco. So these are kind of an older set of rod and reel.
Mm-hmm.
On that note, you can bring these in now until during the Spring Fishing Classic, and they'll give you up to $200 on trading in your old gear on some new stuff.
Okay.
Which brings me to the point, the new stuff, Johnny Morris, our founder, these are his rod and reel combos. Right now, for the combo, you can get it for under $250. So you trade in an old set, you dang near buy the thing.
That's amazing. And
but when I go into the store, I have not done one successful cast. I blame the rod for that. Will you teach us how to fish?
Absolutely. So the good thing about Bass Pro Cabela is our outfitters in each department you go to. If you go to the fishing department, they eat, breathe, and fish. Sleep fishing. That's what they do. A lot of our guys in Missouri are on the Missouri State fishing team, so they're going to know firsthand knowledge of what they're using, what works. So yeah, it's just going to be a great experience.
And real quick, before we run out of time, just because our viewers are wondering what you're wearing.
So this is a new life jacket from Cabela's. It deploys once you submerge in water. So I'm wearing it over my rain jacket. Rain's not going to make this inflate. You have to fully submerge in water. So there's no excuse not to wear one. This is virtually, you don't even feel it's on.
Right there.
Or you can pull it like the airplane, you know, they do it. And fishing kayaks. Obviously, you can put a depth finder on it. These are fully wired to do all kinds of electronics. So,
a fully wired kayak.
That's right.
Spend some serious time out on the water in that thing.
That's right. But we're going on till March 3rd. You know, we're going to have all kinds of stuff getting geared up for fishing it. Store-wide, Cabela's and Bass Pro, all of our outfitters are just waiting to help. Anybody, I mean, all of our guys that fish all the time, they know about this deal. But somebody who's just kind of looking to get into the outdoors for the first time, come see us. We're all about that passion.
You know who's looking to do that? Is Jedediah.
Bass Pro. Wait, Luke, are we friends? Are we friends?
Yeah.
All right. What do we think? I couldn't get it. I was going to try.
Maybe
he had it rigged.
I've had that go off before, but yeah. So
I'm going to have to come out there and try it out.
All right, we will. Jedediah, out to you. Sorry.
Thank you, guys. The hashtag fake emergency now trending as Democrats keep dismissing the crisis at the border.
Simply no emergency there.
Unquestionably not a national emergency.
All hands on deck to refuse this president.
Well, Michael Knowles says Democrats are just ignoring the facts. He joins us next. And Rick is live. Hashtag fake emergency, even trending online. But with nearly 400,000 apprehensions at the border in fiscal year 2018, are they ignoring the facts?
Here to react is host of the Michael Knowles Show, the man, Michael Knowles. Michael, thanks for being here this morning. So the Democrats declare this. You know, you saw the Rose Garden press conference yesterday pointing to angel moms, yet they say this is a fake emergency. Your take?
The real emergency for Democrats is going to be when we cut off their illegal flow of future voters. This, of course, qualifies. We have 400,000 people apprehended crossing our border each year. Those are just the people we catch. That does not include those who come across undetected. If this is not a national emergency, no end in sight, no way to stop the flow, then what exactly is a national emergency? Of the 32 active national emergencies declared by Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, most of those involve economic sanctions on people around the world. By the conservative estimates, we have at least 10 million foreign nationals living in this country. How can we stop that? How can a country remain a country if we cannot stop that?